Everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Rob Roy. I'm a resource conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. I work in Fresno, California. And I think I joined Soil Water Conservation Society, our local chapter, in 2003 or 4, something like that. And I've been a member most of those years. I think I may have lapsed a year or two here and there, but continued to be a member and was on the board, was president of the local chapter back in 2014, and have really enjoyed it. Just want to tell you a little bit about the Soil Water Conservation Society. It was in 1941, Hugh Hammond Bennett, who some of you may have heard of, we call him the father of soil conservation, and another small group of visionary conservationists began discussions about how they needed a society to support their relatively new profession. At that time, those working in conservation had no common meeting ground, no medium for joint expression, and no collective means for advancing their causes. The organizations that existed at the time provided little opportunity or encouragement for advancing the science and art of good land and water use. So while these meetings planted the seeds of what would become SWCS, Soil Water Conservation Society, it wasn't until 1943 that the intent to organize was announced. In late 1944, a council was formed and a membership grew in 1945. First meeting they had was in Chicago in December of 46, and shortly thereafter they began to publish the Journal of Soil and Water Conservation and a membership newsletter. And as a member, you get these copies of Soil and Water Conservation Society, really a great journal to have that highlights a lot of the work that we all do in conservation. So as what was at the time the Soil Conservation Society of America matured as an organization, it changed its name in '87 to the Soil and Water Conservation Society, SWCS, to indicate a broader mission, including water resources and an international scope of activity. It also gained a reputation as a source of balanced, authoritative information on land and water conservation issue. So this year, 2020, marks the 75th anniversary of the Soil and Water Conservation Society. 75th anniversary. It began as and remains today an interdisciplinary professional association with the important mission of fostering the science and art of natural resource conservation. Now, the chapter that myself and some of the other folks attending today, the California, Nevada chapter, began as a California chapter in 1960 and eventually merged to include Nevada. And along the way, we've historically had these really wonderful annual meetings where we would do several things. We would just like a lot of the different annual conferences you would go to for different scientific disciplines. We would have speakers on natural resource issues. We would also do some field trips, and the field trips were really great. Probably one of the best parts of being part of the agency and part of the organization. For example, one year we John McCann set this one up when John, I think John's with us today, set this tour up in Reno, and we explored quite a bit of that watershed. Tremendous field trip. To this day, I think back on it and how great it was. I'd never known there was a dam on Lake Tahoe until we did this field trip, and there it is. And had some great people attended. There's Pamela Hertzler right there, who is our president-elect, I believe, coming up soon. And we had some other really great meetings. So for those of you that would like to join our organization, we'd love to have you as members. Please think about it and consider joining. Of course, because of COVID lately and restrictions on meetings and things like that, we decided not to have an annual meeting at any given location where we all gathered, but instead to do it virtual in a virtual manner, such as this. So that's where we're at today. And I guess at this point, I thank you all for listening, and I'll turn it back over to Brandy.